Coming up on our Finding Better podcast, I've got the wonderful Charlynne Boddie joining me. She is one of the happiest and most accomplished people I've ever known, and she's here to share two or three things that she does every day, simple, easy things that helps her live that happy and accomplished life, and that we can all learn from. So please share this, please subscribe. Here we go. Hello, 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 and welcome back to our Finding Better podcast. My name is John Suzuki, and I am your host. And this is where we share real life experiences. We don't share opinions, we don't share academics, we don't share any of that stuff. We share real life experiences that we've all gone through. And the idea is that maybe you can take some of our experiences, good or bad, and learn from them and apply them to your own life. It's an amazing place, and it's so much fun. Charlynne Boddie is joining me again today. Now, she's one of the few people that I've had back on our Finding Better podcast. She's an amazing, amazing. Look at her smile. Look at her smile. I mean, you can just tell she's amazing person. And I want to share the introduction that I put together for her because it's really really meaningful. So Charlynne is an ordained minister. Okay. She enjoys speaking and teaching about the purpose and vision for people of all ages and how to hear God's voice as a lifestyle. Yes, you can hear his voice. She is also a seasoned media professional who has worked in Hollywood and as a lead press officer at the White House. She's a successful author, and her work in ministry crosses the barriers of color, religion, nationality, socioeconomic backgrounds, and always seeks to encourage others to consider the dreams that lie within them that have yet to be fulfilled. Isn't that cool? You know, Charlynne, as I was putting this together last night, getting ready for this interview, I realized, especially the last part, that you really live with the spirit of Martin Luther King,
Mm,
and which is amazing because you know, I have them up on my wall, and one of my the favorite things that he said famously was judge a person not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
amen.
And
Yes.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter color, religion, nationality, anything. So anyway, Charlene, welcome back to Finding Better. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, John, always a pleasure to see you, brother. Always a pleasure.
And you have lived such you have so many experiences that have made you the person who you are. You were not born with with a silver spoon in your mouth,
No.
the farthest thing from it. And yet you have lived a life of love. You've lived a life of giving and charity. You've lived a life of Jesus Christ. And
Yes.
uh, I know, and I've learned a lot from you. And
Oh,
I think a whole lot of people out there can learn a lot from you too. And as you know, our podcast is all about sharing experiences. And I know that you have a whole lifetime of experiences that people can learn from
mm,
and apply to their own lives. But maybe we could just talk about a few.
okay.
Maybe
Okay.
where folks can listen to you and uh, hopefully get inspired and kind of go, huh, you know what? I can do that. All right. So where do you want to
Yeah.
start?
Well, golly, you know what? I know your Finding Better podcast likes to give some ideas and tips for people to find better in their lives, right?
Absolutely.
And so, as the Lord and I were chatting and preparing, as you did last night for being together today, He dropped three specific things into my heart to share with your viewers and your listeners
Wonderful.
today. So, the first one that He said is just two words that to find better in life right now, we can choose life.
Choose life.
Yes, choose
Okay.
life.
What does that mean?
Well, he said in John 10:10 that he came that we might find life in abundance. And,
Right.
others out there listening might say, or you might have heard, even living life to the full.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think is one of those things that helps us find better in life. So many times, John, I think I've faced death, and I'm not sure if we've talked about all of them, but we're just talking about a few things today together. But I have faced death so many times in life from a medical viewpoint, as well as at the hands of man, where just for being
Right.
an American in a foreign country, my life has been threatened. But in those instances, I had an opportunity. I could either take the death threat that was given to me medically or by the hands of man, or I could say, you know what, Father, I'm going to choose life. I know I'm facing death. And one of those things that I don't think we've talked about on your podcast that a medical journal just asked me to be interviewed about it recently. And that is the fact that at some point I got a bug bite in my left eye and it caused me to be blind, but there was the threat of death for my brain because the bug that bit me while on vacation in Cornwall, England, had three different kinds of staph disease on it.
Oh my gosh.
And if that staph infection, those three different kinds of staph, had traveled down my optic nerve, I would have instantly become a vegetable. And so it was a race against the clock in my body. And everybody was saying to me where I was in England, you're going to die. There's no way. If they don't cut your eyes out, you're going to die. It's moving so fast. We saw it on Monday and now it's Wednesday and you now have 22 ulcers in your eyes. It's eating through, your eye cavity, and we're going to have to extract your eyes, and nothing but bad news.
Mhm.
And I was blind in a very short amount of time. I was blind, and this lasted for 4 months, John.
And when did you get that did you know you were bitten?
I did not know. There was irritation in my eyes. My assistant in the UK
Oh.
was a retired head nurse, and she looked at me and she said, "Okay, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an emergency eye doctor or surgeon, but I know this is not mascara in her eyes. Something
So
is
what
wrong."
happened?
Well, we're visiting a castle, and I
No, I
remember a
mean
bug.
what happened? What happened
Well,
with
after
regards to yeah.
well, after that, I got rushed to England's emergency eye clinic. And four ophthalmologists looked at me and they said, "This is horrific. We're going to have to cut her eyes out, but we're not surgeons." So they pop it up the food chain to the surgeon,
Oh, thank God
and
they weren't
he,
surgeons.
well, yeah, oh my goodness, come on. He says to me, "What's your livelihood, Miss Body?" He doesn't sit there listening to all the science all the way. He says, "I know what the science says. I'm a surgeon. I get it, but what is your livelihood?" He's like, in other words, tell me the person you are.
Yeah,
I want to know who you are, and that's going to help me make a decision. Do I extract your eyes because we're trying to beat the clock,
right.
or do I really hear your heart and work with this situation differently? And thank
Interesting.
goodness I got that surgeon. When I told him that I was an author, speaker, writer, and that I use
Mhm.
my eyes all the time, I'm also a model, a professional plus size model in the UK. He said, "There's no way we can take your eyes out. There
No
has to
kidding.
be another decision." And when he heard what my
Wow.
livelihood was, he decided, "I'm going to go into the lab every night and I'm going to start creating a cocktail to save these eyes."
Wow. Wow. And so going back to your choosing life,
Yes.
where did that come in?
Well, I kept hearing death every day from the ophthalmologist to the point I had to go in 3 times a week to his emergency clinic at one of England's largest hospitals on the south coast of England. And he finally yelled at them in my presence. He said, "If you're not going to be a part of the solution for her life, leave my consulting rooms now. Leave now." All four ophthalmologists left.
Wow.
And he said, "We're choosing life. We're not talking about death around her. We're choosing life." And I'm not blind today, John. I couldn't drive then. I couldn't even cook for myself because I couldn't see the knobs on the oven. I was totally blind. And it made national news in the UK. 12 different news outlets, including the BBC, carried my story of being blind and now I see.
Three different strains of staph. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Now,
and one kind, John, can cause an amputation in a body, but I had
now
three different kinds.
I mean, was it in your heart what went on in your brain and in your heart in
Um,
terms of choosing life, right? I mean, I get that the doctors were of
yes.
the mind that, we're not going to let our eyes die. But
Yeah.
what part of you um, do you think contributed to that outcome?
Well, I really had to get serious with the Lord. On my first day, I remember having patches on my eyes, and they're trying to figure out what's going on with her because it looks like she's deathly ill, and I was. If the staff had gone to my brain, I would have been dead. That's it. I would have been gone,
Hmm.
brain dead, just gone. It
Right.
was it was happening so rapidly, and my first nurse that got a hold of me told me her name was Joy. And I said, "What a lovely name," even though I couldn't see her, John. She says, "I hate it. I want to change it." And I thought,
Oh,
wow, why would she say that? She said, "I just buried my 6 year old yesterday."
oh,
So from the minute I hit the emergency eye clinic, John, I was facing life and death the entire time, not just in my own body. I was about to become brain dead, Ted said to me. Every day it's racing so fast through my body, and my body rejected every steroid. They could not save me. And they were so panicking. And here's my first nurse is telling me she just buried her 6 year old son.
yeah.
And
Oh,
the Lord said to me, Shar, you're hearing death for your body. Your nurse has just buried her 6 year old. No parent wants to survive a child. You have an opportunity to choose life this moment and to speak life to your nurse. And you also, Charlynne, have to speak life over your own self, over your brain, over your eyes, because you're being told daily, that you are about to die. My
wow.
body doesn't
Wow.
like drugs, and they couldn't save me, John. They couldn't
Wow.
save me.
And so the surgeon eventually was able to create a cocktail
Yes, he did. He had to
that,
do a different medicine for this eye and a different medicine for that eye. Therefore, I called it a cocktail to the BBC when they interviewed me.
wow.
They go, well, what
Wow.
do you call it? What was it, a serum? I go, no, it wasn't one serum. He had to do two different things. And a surgeon who hasn't been in the lab since med school, probably, he had to go to the lab every night and work himself because everybody else gave up on me.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And having him as a doctor is was a blessing of itself, obviously.
Yes,
And
yes. And,
so,
and he
yeah,
was
well,
of a
good for you.
different faith. And he said to me, "Does your God have a verse in the Bible on vision?" Because he was Hindu. And I said, "Yes, my God does." He said, "Can you
Yeah.
tell it to me, please?" I said, "The verse that comes to mind is, without vision, you die." And that's in Proverbs
Okay.
29, verse 18. It says, "Without vision, you perish." And he spun around in his scrubs from surgery. He said, "That's really in the Bible," like that. I said, "Yes,
That's
sir,
really in the
it
Bible.
is." He said, "Well, you were about to die, Shar. You certainly were about to die.
Wow.
If we had
Wow.
not come up with this cocktail, as you call it, Shar, for each eye, we could not have stopped it from hitting your brain."
And as I think about this and I relate it to, the folks who are listening, um, everybody hits a low point. Everybody hits a danger
Yes.
point. Everybody at some point in your life. And I love what you said about choosing life. A lot of people, when they think about the words choose life, they think about abortion, they think about,
Yes.
choice. Um,
Yes.
and, but you're talking about choosing life for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's tough. I mean, I think about I'm sure there were times when you just felt like giving up. I'm sure there were times that you're
Yes.
talking with
Oh,
those
John, and you
ophthalmologists
and
and they're
you
like, You're
oh
you're
yeah.
you're you're going to die." And I'm sure there were times that you
Oh,
believed that, and yet in came this ray of hope, and
yes.
in came your heart,
Yeah.
maybe in not in that order, but you chose. You made a
Yeah.
choice and you went
Yeah.
after it.
And the surgeon
And
said, "Do you trust me?" Because all the other doctors said, you're going to lose this girl and it's going to be in your head. I heard it in
Yeah.
front of me.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's hard not to let that sink into your psyche,
Yeah.
and kind of give up. And yet,
Mhm.
just keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah.
It ain't over till
Yeah.
it's over,
Well,
right?
yeah, and I
And
went home every day, and for 4 months, John, I was blind. I couldn't drive. My friends took turns taking me 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I knew every orderly. I knew every nurse in the eye
yeah,
clinic.
yeah,
The pharmacist knew me by heart, and she was just crying. She said, "They're going to kill you with all these steroids." She said, "Char, I don't want to fill this prescription." I said, "You have to." I prayed for her, and I couldn't even see
yeah.
her. I said, "Mary, let me pray for you." I said, "You have to fill it. They're trying to save my life. They're not trying to kill me. They're trying to zero out what works and what doesn't. And my body is rejecting everything." She said, "It's too much steroids. I don't want to fill this prescription." And I had to go around the corner in the largest hospital in England and pray for her. And she
So,
goes, "Why are you doing this?" She goes, "You're dying." She said, and she was crying. I just hugged her. I said, "Let me pray with you." I said, "Lord, please give my pharmacist peace so that she can be a part of the solution to saving my life right now." And she filled the prescription every week, and we zeroed out every steroid known to man. It didn't work. They had to create something new.
yeah, yeah. So, to those folks who are thinking about, it ain't over till it's over,
That's right.
and until it's over,
Yeah.
keep going. You know,
Yeah.
this too shall pass.
Yes.
Everything's going to be
Yeah.
okay, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Until it's not. But until it's not,
Yeah.
keep going. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Charlynne, you're the embodiment of hope. You're the embodiment of courage. You're the embodiment of faith. And I know, and we won't go into all the other situations where you've almost had your life taken from you, be it from terrorists or from your kidnapping.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but because folks, if you want to learn about that, go look at Charlynne's previous episodes with me. All right, so we talked about choose life.
Yes.
What's something else that people can learn from you?
How about this one? How about when the blues hit you in your life? How about eyes off of self and eyes on others?
Ooh, ooh, because. I mean,
Because that,
the blues have never hit me. I mean, I don't know what that means.
yeah,
I know they haven't hit you either, right?
yeah,
So you're just probably
not,
making this shit up. But
yes,
but right? No, everybody hits a rut, right?
yeah. Oh,
Everybody
come
hits a
on,
rut, right?
yeah,
And it could be a physical rut, it could be a mental rut, it could be a social rut. All right,
yes,
so
yeah. And
tell us more.
well, and I think, here's what I heard the Lord say. He said in Philippians 2, verses 3 and 4, he says, if you will act with humility in your own disposition and remember the needs of others, then it lifts you. And it's very true. A lot of times I think people have issues with contentment because they're focusing inward so much and not looking outward. And I remember a time in my life where when I was a missionary overseas, John, and I did not have one penny in the bank account. And I had a speaking engagement out of town for a small street church. And I said, "Lord, how am I going to get there? They're going to call tomorrow and ask what train I'm on. I don't even have the money to order the train ticket online. How am I going to get there, God? And you've told me not to tell anyone, but to trust you." To trust you. I had a pound in my bank account, which is like a US dollar. That's all I had, a pound and 29 cents in the British bank account. And the Lord said, "You have to trust me. You just have to trust me." And so the pastor called, wondering what train I was coming in on in England. And I had nothing to say to her. And the Lord had told me, "Trust me, don't say anything." And she said, "Reverend, do you have your train time?" And I said, "Pastor, I don't." She said, "Fantastic. There's a woman who's been dying to meet you, and she would like to pick you up and bring you." And I said, "You're kidding."
Yeah.
Eyes off of self. And I went ahead and said yes to the engagement, not knowing that God had already prepared a ride for me. But it gets better than that, John. When I went to speak to the very tiny street church, I asked the people there in this very small church, about 10 people were there that day. I said, "Can you come down front for prayer?" And when I grabbed my handbag after I prayed for everyone, there was a small envelope in it, and I didn't think too much about it. And this couple had said, "Shar, thank you for standing with us in the tough spots in our marriage. That really blessed us." I said, "Well, I'm just doing my job." And I said, "Let me pray for you." I just spoke a blessing over them. And the pastors took me to a fish and chip lunch down the road. When I got back to my home after this kind lady drove me back home, which is about 3 hours away, and I unpacked my bag and my overnight bag and my handbag. I thought, oh yes, somebody put a thank you note in my handbag. I opened the note, John. There was a check in there for the equivalent of 1,500 US dollars.
Wow.
Now
Wow.
I went on a wing and a prayer with nothing in the bank, no money for the train or anything. It was one of those faith moments. And the Lord said, because you obeyed and accepted and kept your word with this speaking engagement, look at how I will turn around and bless you when you take eyes off of self and you look to the needs of others.
That's amazing. I want to share a little bit of my own experience because the result of in your case it involved a monetary reward or a monetary return.
Yes,
Doesn't
yes.
always happen that way,
That's
folks,
right. That's
right?
right. That's right.
But the part about uh, focusing outside of yourself, which is so powerful to me, is that always come back. And I've talked with you. I've
Yes.
mentioned we've talked about this before. Um,
Yes.
you know, in my case, this whole podcast is all about giving back. This whole
Mm-hmm.
podcast is about helping people. Um, I was called to do this podcast, and uh,
Yes.
both by the Lord and by my daughter.
Oh,
And
I love that.
it's been the joy of my life. I haven't made any money, folks. I've spent thousands of hours working on
Yes.
this,
Yes.
and there has been zero return in terms of any monetary reward.
Yeah.
But the reward that's come back to me has really been, you can call it spiritual,
Yeah.
you can call it heart,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'll tell you something, even in my
Mm-hmm.
case where I'm not getting the monetary rewards,
Yes.
this has been the joy of my life. I mean,
Yeah.
meeting me without me doing this podcast, I would never have met you, Charlynne. I would never have met the
Same
roughly
here.
100 people that I've had as guests on my podcast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just been wonderful. And there really is the heart and spirit
Yes. Mm-hmm.
are
Mm-hmm.
really, really important. And
Mm-hmm.
both of you, but both of us, both of you, both of
Yeah.
both of us live with the Lord,
Yes.
and we that is our belief system.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I just want y'all to know that following your calling doesn't always end up with a $1,500 check in in your purse.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but it does come
Yep.
back. It does come back.
Yes.
In my
It
case,
does.
I've never had more fun in my life. And
Well,
so, yeah, when you got the blues, take the focus off yourself.
yeah.
It's
And look
amazing. And you know
outwardly.
what the thing that's amazing about that, Charlene, is that when you have the blues and you're in a rut, you focus on you. I mean,
Yeah. Come on. Don't we all?
what you're saying is completely antithetical to the natural
Mm-hmm.
response to being in
Mm-hmm.
the blues, right? Oh,
Yeah.
woe is me. Oh my God, my
Yeah.
life sucks. Oh my
Yeah.
God, what do I get?
Uh-huh.
What am I? What am I? What am I going to
Yep.
do? How am I going to do it? Blah, blah, blah. And so
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
natural
Come on.
response
Yeah.
is to focus on you. And now you're saying, stop it. You
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
try doing the
Mm-hmm.
opposite. And
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing,
Mm-hmm.
Charlene. I know that there are folks that are listening to you and me right now
Yeah.
who are going to try it because,
That's the prayer.
you know, because we haven't thought of doing that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just a natural response. I've got the blues, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna contract into myself. And
Yeah.
now, folks, try not doing that. Try doing the
Yeah.
opposite.
Yeah.
when your natural response is to do this
Yeah.
and get out there.
Absolutely.
And folks, you're gonna see a miracle happen. I'm telling you, you're gonna see a
Yeah.
miracle happen.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be wonderful.
Yeah, because you can't really put a price tag on lives changed.
Yeah,
It is
right?
priceless. You
Exactly.
know, you remember the
Exactly.
old MasterCard commercials? They'd say, you know, yeah, business trip to, Hong Kong, thousands of dollars. Giving up that business trip to spend time with my grandchildren, priceless. They
Yeah,
would do commercials
exactly.
like that.
Exactly.
They would
And
put the dollar amount on it, but there's things in life that you cannot put a
no,
price
no,
tag to.
most the vast majority of things out there, you can't
Hmm.
put a price tag on it, and
Hmm.
when and
Hmm.
I've often said that, when you lift when a better you lifts the world, right?
Hmm.
And with what you just
Hmm.
said of taking the focus off of yourself and bringing your focus out to others, you're not only you're not only helping yourself, you're lifting others
Yeah,
and you're lifting the
yeah,
world.
yeah. It's a
And
win-win.
that's what I love about it. And that's why I
Yeah,
say, um, y'all will see miracles happen.
yeah,
Charlene
Oh,
and I have both
oh
seen
yes.
amazing things happen, but
Oh
you
yes.
just got to let them happen. All right.
Yeah.
So,
Here's the third one. You want a third
okay,
one?
number three.
And number three is count your blessings and choose an attitude of gratitude.
Yes.
Because I think it's so easy to feel fine in the moment when everything's going great. But what about when you have other things happening, and do you take stock? I try to keep a journal of every blessing that happens every week, and writing that down, because my thought is that on the rainy days, you can open that journal and you have a treasure trove of blessings. Look at how this happened. Look at this good thing. Oh, I met this person here, and look how that affected my life in this way. And then I met this person here, and then, oh my goodness, the Lord opened this door, and this and this and that. But to take time, take stock, and thank Him. Scripture says in Hebrews, what is it, 13 verse 15, that when we do it to God, that is a sacrifice of praise, and it is a sweet aroma to Him. When we choose to be thankful instead of having a pity party, which we're the only ones that attend the party, instead of that, you know, if you have a pity party, you're the only one that goes. No one else is going to go to the pity
And
party but you.
everybody else is celebrating your pity party,
You know what?
right?
It,
Everybody else is,
yes,
yeah,
come on.
yeah.
And one of my favorite Christmas movies is White Christmas. Well, one of the songs in there that's so famous is sung by Bing Crosby and George Clooney's auntie, Rosemary Clooney. And it's called Count Your Blessings. It says, if you're worried and you can't sleep, just count your blessings instead of sheep, and you'll fall asleep counting your blessings, is what the song says. And that's very true. How often do we take time to take stock and actually, remember and actually record the blessings? So, another way to find better in life is to count your blessings. There's often people that are in a worse spot than you. You may or may not see them,
There's
but
always
you know,
people in a worse
yes,
spot than you.
yes, always.
Always.
This is the truth. And I totally agree with that. I don't know how many Americans have sat and thought for a moment. On both coasts, we have two working disasters right now. We have the fires in California, in Southern California, that are the worst in California history. And we have 6 states still dealing with the hurricane floods
Yeah.
on the East Coast, that they're only now getting relief.
Yep.
Only now. And
Yep.
that was months ago.
Yep.
So, and we in the middle, now I live in Denver, where it's kind of high and dry in the Rocky Mountains. And we don't have many disasters like that. You don't see floods here very often. We've had them years and years ago, but you don't see it very often. And we don't have Santa Anas here at all. So it is a high and dry place. We don't have earthquakes. We don't have hurricanes all the things that hit our coastal regions. And I'm wondering how many Americans are taking time to say, you know what? I am so thankful for these family albums that someone ahead of me took time to record and chronicle our family history. I'm so thankful for the roof over my head, be it an apartment, a studio, a bed sit, whatever. I'm grateful for the roof over my head because thousands of Americans on both coasts do not have a home right now. Thousands.
Yeah. I did a short video on gratitude. And I said, if you don't
Yes.
have anything to be grateful for, be grateful for your toilet.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
Come on.
imagine life, especially maybe not now, but when you got to go to the toilet really, really bad,
Yes.
imagine life without that thing
Yeah.
there.
Come on.
What would you do? And
Well, yeah.
there's a huge percentage of the population that in world's population that doesn't have
Mhm.
water and doesn't have toilets.
Well,
Um,
John,
but
think about it. Now,
you-
you mentioned the toilet.
it's
Can I just
simple.
say that, I had a Navajo grandmother that had an outhouse in America on the reservation, and she used to send me to the outhouse that had no door with a stick. And I'd say, Chima, or grandmother in Navajo, I said, why are you sending me with a stick to the toilet, to the outhouse? And she'd say, this is to scare off the rattlesnakes.
Rattlesnakes.
And I'm
Exactly.
like, oh my gosh, it's like stepping back in time. There was no toilet at her house, okay?
Yeah, yeah, and but the thing about it is that we are so, Western culture is so intense. And going back to one of the reasons why I started this podcast is because there is so much bullshit information that
Yes,
we're being inundated with.
yes,
And I call them
yes.
messages of inadequacy.
Yeah.
Their messages,
Mhm.
every advertisement says you'll be happy when you buy my product or service.
Yeah.
Social media, if you're not living
Come
like
on.
me, you suck. If you don't look like me, you suck. And the fact of the matter is,
Yeah.
if you get caught up with all that kind of messaging, um, it's impossible not to be focusing on what you don't have,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When in fact, we live in such a world of abundance, and I think
Yes.
I think to this I'll just say we are culturally conditioned to live in scarcity.
Yes.
Um, it is like I said, with all the
Hmm.
with all the messages of inadequacy and all the advertisements and everything. We live in a culture of scarcity.
Yes.
I want this. I want more. I want more. I want more.
Yeah.
When in
Yeah. Yeah.
fact,
You don't have enough.
one of the keys to true happiness that I found is if you can be thankful for what you already have.
Yes.
Because I promise you, there are millions of people out there who can't even dream of having the things that we have. Every
Yes.
one of us in the United
Yes.
States, being in the
Yes.
United States, right?
Yes. Come on. Come
It's
on.
it's it's just our whole life is a blessing, and just the
Yes.
fact that we are here and the
Yes.
opportunity the
Yes.
opportunities that we have to make the world better and to make ourselves better.
Well, and you all have
So,
heard me talk about my site today. Before that bug bite, which was about 6 years ago, I'm sure I'm like many people that are seeing people that have sight that took that for granted. I don't take my eyes for granted, John.
right?
I'm thankful every day that I can see
Exactly.
you. I know who
Exactly.
John Suzuki is because not only do I know you by your voice, but I can actually see my brother John Suzuki.
Right.
I know
Right.
who he is because I can actually see you, but I'm so grateful for my sight.
Yeah. And
John,
it's and
so
and
grateful.
and to your point, and everybody's gone through this, right? You learn to appreciate things when you don't have them anymore, or you learn to
Yes.
appreciate things when there's a threat of
Yes.
losing things.
Mhm.
So before that happens,
Yeah.
count
Yes.
your blessings now, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And
Be grateful.
and I think I did another short that said, one of the most powerful prayers you can make is a prayer of two words. Just look up fold your hands and say these words. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Every day.
Every day.
Every
When
day.
you're going to bed, I mean, just think about the things that
Yes.
we all go to bed. We all go to bed thinking, "Oh my God, today sucked. Oh my God, I got to deal with
Yeah.
this tomorrow. Oh my
Yeah.
God,
Uh-huh.
oh my God, oh my God, oh my God."
Yes.
Try something different.
Yeah.
Instead of going, "Oh my God, oh my
Yeah.
God, oh my God," say, "Oh my
Yes.
God, oh my God."
Yeah. Totally
Yeah.
different intonation.
Wow. Yeah, same words, different spirit, right?
Yes.
Try
Yes.
it. Just shifting things like that can
Yes.
often help. Charlene, we talk, it's so fun talking with you because the things we talk about are so simple and yet they're so deep, right? They can run so
There's
deep.
layers.
And the layers. There goes that onion thing again.
Yeah.
But it's just wonderful, and I know there are going to be folks that are listening to us that are going to take some of the things we talked about and try it. And that's the last thing I'll say, you guys. Try it.
Yeah.
You may like
Yes.
it,
Yes.
right?
Come on.
Try it.
Come
And if
on.
it works, just make it part of your life.
Yeah.
Everything that we talked about
Yeah.
is easy. It's easy,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. It's
And
just about choice. It's your
it's
choice.
about choice.
Yes.
It's about choice, and that's a whole
Yeah.
nother thing, right?
Yeah. Because you
Your
know
whole
what? The
life is
Lord,
your choice.
because God's never going to mess with your free will. He will
Yes.
never mess with free will. We have a will. We're the only animal on the planet that has that kind of will, that kind of intuition. He created us with that on purpose. He didn't want robots. He wanted people with a free will.
And I'll end with this. When I was, I don't know, 16 years old, I was going through a Hallmark store, and and I saw a little, they got those little sayings that are on these little
Like
engraved in
plaques.
little things,
Yes.
and the thing said, "The life you've been given is God's gift to you.
Mm-hmm.
What you make of your life
Mm-hmm.
is your gift to God."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to your point, He's given
Amen.
us free will, and
Yes.
it's up to us in terms of what we give back.
Yes.
So I'm going to end it there.
Yes.
Charlene, this has been
Yes.
amazing. I normally don't talk about spirituality to the level that we talked about, but uh, we need to do more of it. We need to do more
Yeah.
of it, and
Yeah.
let folks, wherever you are, whatever ails you, um,
Yeah.
it's your choice. It's your choice. It's your
Yeah.
choice on how you're going to
Yeah.
respond.
Yeah.
So
That's
with
it.
that, Charlene, I love you. God bless you.
Love you
All,
too, John.
yeah, all of you
I'm
out
so
there.
glad God gave me a brother named John Suzuki.
There you go, right? And a sister named Charlynne Boddie. So with that, folks, thank you for joining us. I love you. God bless you. Please share this because there's folks out there that need to hear this, and you can really help them. Until next time, see ya.